Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalaka Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. 2 days ago in Kanchi, at the Pandava Dut Koil temple. Do we have translation? Oh, no, translation is required for some. Just as I was coming out from there, I saw one of the lady devotees with some books. So I looked to see what are those books, and one was Mukunda stotra. So I thought that was about time I read that. I haven't read that for a long time. And actually in the first verse, the first prayer of Maharaj Kula Shekhar finishes Alapinam pratidinim kurumam Mukunda. That may I be every day, or may I recite this every day. So I'm not even reciting it once a year. I thought I should read that sometime, as it's such a beautiful prayer, and also very suitable that it's being recited in Kanchi, and in the very first verse, one of the names of the Lord, actually the second name mentioned is in this. The second name mentioned in the first verse of Mukundamala is Varada, who is the most famous deity, or the presiding deity of Vishnu Kanchi. So it was very suitable that she had this. I was also pleased to see that the copy of her book looked quite worn out, so that's good. If you have a book for a long time and you don't read it, it may still look quite new, even after many years. But if you're regularly using it, then it may start, you can see it's a regularly used book, so I could see that she was reciting it regularly. So I'd like to recite this now. It'll probably take up most of the time that would be normally set aside for a class. So please listen carefully. Shivallabheti varadeti daya pareti bhakta priyeti bhava luntana kovideti nateti naga shayaneti jagannivaseti alapinam pratidinam kurumam mukunda. This is Srila Prabhupada's translation. Srila Prabhupada started to translate this work, but he didn't finish it. He only translated a few verses. So the first few verses are translated by Srila Prabhupada. Here's Srila Prabhupada's translation. O Mukunda, my Lord, please let me become a constant reciter of your names, addressing you as Sri Vallabha, he who is very dear to Lakshmi, Varada, the bestower of benedictions, Dayapara, he who is causelessly merciful, Bhakta Priya, he who is very dear to his devotees, Bhava Luntana Kovida, he who is expert at plundering the status quo of repeated birth and death, Nata, the Supreme Lord, Jagannivasa, the resort of the cosmos, and Naga Shayana, the Lord who lies down on the serpent bed. Prabhupada's purport is this quite long. So the next verse, Jayatu Jayatu Devo Devaki Nandano Yam Jayatu Jayatu Krishna Vrishne Vamsha Pradipaha Jayatu Jayatu Mekha Shamala Komalango Jayatu Jayatu Prithvi Bharana Somakundaha. All glories to this personality known as the son of Srimati Devaki Devi. All glories to Lord Sri Krishna, the brilliant light of the Vrishni dynasty. All glories to the personality of Godhead, the hue of whose soft body resembles the blackish color of a new cloud. All glories to Lord Mukunda, who removes the burdens of the earth. Mukunda murdna pranipadyaya je bhavantam ekantam eyantamartham abhismritis tvaccharanarvinde bhave bhave mestu bhavat prasadat. O Lord Mukunda, I bow down my head to your Lordship and respectfully ask you to fulfill this one desire of mine, that in each of my future births I will, by your Lordship's mercy, always remember and never forget your lotus feet. So I was wondering why we're not having a Bhagavatam class, but it's the essence of the Bhagavatam. And it's the same words we find in the Bhagavatam. It is the Abhismriti, Tvaccharanaravinda, non-forgetfulness of your lotus feet. So the same thing is there in Bhagavatam. Abhismriti Krishna, Tadaravindayo, non-forgetfulness of Krishna's lotus feet. It's just slightly different line. And Bhave Bhave Meister, the same thing comes up in the penultimate verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Same words. Bhave, in every birth may I have devotion to your lotus feet. Anyway, I'm just saying a few words. But there are quite long purports which you can read in your spare time. Then verse 4. Nahang vande tava charanayod vandvam advandva heto kumbhi patam gurumapi hare narakam napanetum ramya rama mridu tanugata nandanena pirantum bhave bhave hridaya bhavane bhavaye yang bhavantam. So just by hearing you can hear what are called the alankars, the same syllables are being repeated again and again, so it becomes very beautiful, it's very pleasing to hear. Translation. O Lord Hari, it is not to be saved from the dualities of material existence or the grim tribulations of the Kumbhipaka hell that I pray to your lotus feet. Nor is my purpose to enjoy the soft-skinned, beautiful women who reside in the gardens of heaven. I pray to your lotus feet only so that I may remember you alone in the core of my heart, birth after birth. Text 5, still translations by Srila Prabhupada. Nastha dharme navasu nichaye naiva kamo bhoge yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhavan purva kaman rupam etat pratyam mama bahu matam janma janmantarepi tvat padam boruha yugagata nischala bhakti rastu. O my Lord, I have no attachment for religiosity or for accumulating wealth or for enjoying sense gratification. Well, what does that remind us of? Really? Well, it reminds me of na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, etc. It's the same philosophy, but very beautifully expressed. Let these come as they inevitably must in accordance with my past deeds. Oh, that also reminds us of Raghunath Das Goswami. Na dharma and dharma. I'm not interested in the dharma or adharma. Let these come as they inevitably must in accordance with my past deeds, but I do pray for this most cherished boon. Birth after birth, let me render unflinching devotional service unto your two lotus feet. Divi va bhuvi va mamastu va so narake va narakantaka prakamam avadhirita charat. What is that? Avidhirita sharadaravindo charanote maranepi chintayami. O Lord, killer of the demon Narak, let me reside either in the realm of the demigods, in the world of human beings, or in hell, as you please. I pray only that at the point of death I may remember your two lotus feet, whose beauty defies that of the lotus growing in the Sharad season. Chintayami harim eva santatam mandahasa muditanam ambujam nandagopatanayam parat parang naradadi munivrindavanditam. I always think of Lord Hari, whose joyful lotus face bears a gentle smile. Although he is the son of the cowherd Nanda, he is also the supreme absolute truth, worshipped by great sages like Narada. Karacharana saroje kanti mande dramine Shramamushi puja vichi vyakule gadhamarge Hari sarasi vigahya piya tejo jalokam Bhavamaru harikhinna veshamadya tyajami. The desert of material existence has exhausted me, but today I will cast aside all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. The lotuses in that lake are his hands and feet, and the fish are his brilliant shining eyes. That lake's water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves his arms create. Its current flows deep beyond fathoming. That's very poetic language. Sarasi janayane sasankha chakre murabhidima viramasva chittarantam Sukhataram aparam najatu jane Hari charana smaranam ritena tulyam. O mind, please never stop taking pleasure in thinking of the Mura, demon's destroyer, who has lotus eyes and bears the conch and disc weapon. Indeed, I know of nothing else that gives such extreme pleasure as meditating on the Lord Hari's divine feet. Mavye mandamano vichincha bahudaya mischirang yatana Naivami prabhavanti papa ribhava Swami nanu sridhara Alasyam vyapaniya bhakti sulabham dhyayasva narayanam Lokasya vyasana panodana karo dasasya kim nakshavaha. O foolish mind, stop your fearful fretting about the extensive torments imposed by Yamaraj. Can you all understand this? I mean, the words are not very difficult, but the construction is a little unusual. It's poetic. Can you all follow? All right. I hope so. Can you follow? You have to translate it. Oh, foolish mind. Well, we can all understand that. Stop your fearful fretting. Fretting, do you know what fretting means? Fretting means worrying. It means kind of agitated worrying. Stop your fearful fretting about the extensive torments imposed by Yamaraj. The words are not difficult, but it's an unusual, we don't talk like that normally. It's poetic manner of expression. How can your enemies, the sinful reactions you have accrued, even touch you? After all, is your master not the Supreme Lord, the husband of Goddess Shri? Cast aside all hesitation and concentrate your thoughts on Lord Narayana, whom one very easily attains through devotional service. What can that dispeller of the whole world's troubles not do for his own servant? You see, no one would speak like this. It's the kind of thing maybe in a drama you would speak like this. In normal speech, no one speaks like this. But this is not normal speech. This is prayers to the Supreme Lord. Bhavajalati gatanam dvanvavatahatanam sutaduhitri kalatratrana bharaditanam vishama vishayatoye majjatam aplavanam bhavati sharanam eko vishnu proto naranam. The people in this vast ocean of birth and death are being blown about by the winds of material dualities as they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence. Flounder means to just something like that. They're trying to move, but they're just all unsteady. Flounder gives the sense of unsteady movement. As they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence, with no boat to help them, they are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters and wives. Only the boat, that is Lord Vishnu, can save them. Vishnu Pota, the boat of Vishnu. Bhavajalatim agadham dustaram nistareyam katamahamiti cheto masmaka kataratram sarasijadrishi deve taraki bhakti rekha narakadhiti nishamna tarayishyatyavasyam. Dear mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking, how can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? There is one who can save you, devotion. If you offer her to the lotus-eyed Lord, the killer of Narakasura, she will carry you across this ocean without fail. Trishna toye madana bhavanod huta mohormi male daravarte tanaya sahajagraha sangha kuleja samsara ke mahati jaladho vajatam nastridhaman padam bhoje valada bhavato bhakti navam prayaksha. O Lord of the three worlds, we are drowning in the vast ocean of samsara, which is filled with the waters of material hankering, with many waves of illusion whipped up by the winds of lust, with whirlpools of wives, and with vast schools of sharks and other sea monsters who are our sons and brothers. O giver of all benedictions, please grant me a place on the boat of devotion that is your lotus feet. Okay, let's translate it somehow like that. Prithvi Renoranu Payansi Karnika Pausu Spulingo Lakus Tejo Nisvasanam Maruttanutaram Randram Sukshman Nabha Shudra Rudra Pitamaha Prabhritaya Kita Samastasura Drishte Yatra Saptarago Vijayate Sripada Dhudi Karha. Once our Savior has been seen, the whole earth becomes no greater than a speck of dust. All the waters of the ocean become mere droplets. The totality of fire becomes a minute spark. The wind's just a faint sigh, and the expanse of space becomes a tiny hole. Great lords like Rudra and Grandfather Brahma become insignificant, and all the demigods become like small insects. Indeed, even one particle of dust from our Lord's feet conquers all. Eloka shrunata prasuti marana vyad ischikitsham imam Yogagya samudha haranti munayo yang yagya valkyadaya. Antarjyotiramaya ekam amritam krishnakam apiyatam tatpitam paramo shadham vidante nirvanam atantikam. O people, please hear of this treatment for the disease of birth and death. What's the treatment? It is the name of Krishna, recommended by Yajnavalkya and other expert yogis steeped in wisdom. This boundless, eternal, inner light is the best medicine, for when drunk it bestows complete and final liberation. Just drink it. Hey Martyah paramam hitam shunuta vo vakshyami sankshepata Sansaranavam apad urmi bahulam samyak pravishya smitaha Nana jnanam apasya chetasi namo narayanayetyamum Mantram sa pranavam pranama sahitam Pavartayastham O mortal beings, you have submerged yourself fully in the ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of misfortune. Please hear as I briefly tell you how to attain your supreme benefit. Just put aside your various attempts at gaining knowledge and instead begin constantly chanting the mantra Om Namo Narayanaya and bowing down to the Lord. Of course, we would recommend to chant Om Namo Narayanaya in another form, namely Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Natena Purushottame Chijagatam Ekadrupe Chetasa Sevye Svasya Padasya Datari Pare Narayane Tishtati Yam Kanchit Purusharthamam Katipaya Kramesham Alpardatam Sevayai Mrigayamahe Naramaho Murha Varakavayam. Our Master, the personality of Godhead Narayana, who alone rules the three worlds, whom one can serve in meditation and who happily shares its personal domain, is manifest before us, yet still we beg for the service of some minor lord of a few villages, some lowly man who can only meagerly reward us. Alas, what foolish wretches we are! That's a good one to say. When someone comes in, oh, I got a great job. You can recite this. Bhagena anjalina natena sirasa gatrai saromodgamai kantena swaragadgadena nayaneno girna pashpambuna Nityam Tvatcharana Ravinda Yugaladhanamritasvadinam Asmakam Sarasiru Haksha Satatam Sampatyatam Jivitam. Oops, I messed up all of that. Oh, lotus-eyed Lord, please sustain our lives as we constantly relish the nectar of meditating on your lotus feet with our palms prayerfully joined, our heads bowed down, our bodily hair standing up in jubilation, our voices choked with emotion, and our eyes flowing with tears. Yat Krishna Pranipata Dhuli Dhavalam Tat Varshva Tat Vaishiras Te Netre Tavaso Jite Suruchire Yabhyam Hare Drishyate Sabhutir Malindus Shankat Dhavalaya Madhavadhyayini Sadhivamrita Varshini Katipadam Yastoti Narayanam. That head is the loftiest, which is white with dust from bowing down to Lord Krishna. Those eyes are the most beautiful which darkness has abandoned after they have seen Lord Hari. That intelligence is spotless like the white glow of the moon or a concha, which concentrates on Lord Madhava. And that tongue rains down nectar, which constantly glorifies Lord Narayana. Jive kirtaya keshavam muraripam cheto bhaja sridharam pani dvandva samarchaya chuta katha shrotra dvayatvam shunu Krishnam lokaya lochana dvaya hare gaccham hri yugmalayam jidra grana Mukunda pada tulasim murdhan namad hokshajam. O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Keshava. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hands, serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Sri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple of Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulasi buds on Lord Mukunda's feet. O head, bow down to Lord Adhokshaja. Amnaya bhyasananyam niruditam veda vratanyam vaham vedascheda palani purta vidhaya sarvam hutam bhasmane tirthanam avaghahanani chagajasnanam vinayat pada Tanvam horuha samsmitim vijayate deva satnarayanaha. All glories to Lord Narayana. Without remembrance of his lotus feet, recitation of scripture is merely crying in the wilderness. Regular observance of severe vows enjoined in the Vedas is no more than a way to lose weight. Execution of prescribed pious duties is like pouring oblations onto ashes, and bathing at various holy sites is no better than an elephant's bath. Well, most people, if they haven't read Prabhupada's books, don't know what an elephant's bath is. At the time when Maharaj Kula Shekhar composed these prayers, it must have been a common example. Madana parihara stiting madiye manasi Mukunda padana vindadhamni harinayana krishna nuna krishosi smarasina chakra parakramam murarehe. O Cupid, abandon your residence in my mind, which is now the home of Lord Mukunda's lotus feet. You have already been incinerated by Lord Shiva's fiery glance. So why have you forgotten the power of Lord Murari's disc? Threaten Cupid. Nate dhatari bhogi bhogas shayane narayana madhave deve devaki nandane suravare chakra yudhe shangini lila shesha jagat prapancha Jathare Vishveshware Sridhare Govinde Kuru Chittavritam Achalam Anyaistu King Vartanai. Think only of your Master and Sustainer, the Supreme Lord, who is known as Narayana and Madhava, and who lies on the body of the serpent Ananta. He is the darling son of Devaki, the hero of the demigods, and the lord of the cows, and he holds the conch shell and the bow Shanda. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune, and the controller of all the universes, which he manifests from his abdomen as a pastime. What will you gain by thinking of anything else? Madraksham shina punyan kshanam api bhavato bhaktihinam padabje Ma shosham shravya bandham tava charitam apasyanyad akhyana jatam Ma smarsham madhavatvam api bhuvanapate cetasa panuvanam ma bhuvam tvat saparya vyatikara rahito janma janmantare pi. O Madhava, please do not let me even glance at those whose pious credits are so depleted that they have no devotion for your lotus feet. Please do not let me be distracted from listening to the worthy narrations of your pastimes and become interested in other topics. Please, O Lord of the universe, let me pay no attention to those who avoid thinking of you, and let me never be unable to serve you in some menial way, birth after birth. These are good prayers, aren't they? Any one of them is sufficient to bestow upon us the complete perfection of life. As is stated in the next verse, Majjan mana palang idang madhukaita bhare madkartaniya madanugraha esha eva tad britya britya karicharaka britya britya brityasya britya iti mam smaralokanata. Heard this word again and again, britya, britya, karikara. So this is the same import as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, Gopi bhavatu pada kamalaya dasudasanudasaha. Translation. O enemy of Madhu and Kaita, O Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. Tattvam bruvanani param parastan madhu ksharantiva mudavahani Pravataya pranjalir asmi jihve namani narayana gocharani. My dear tongue, I stand before you with joined palms and beg you to recite the names of Lord Narayana. These names describing the Supreme Absolute Truth bring great pleasure as if exuding honey. Namami Narayana Pada Pankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Nama Nirmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. At every moment I bow down to the lotus feet of Narayana, I perform worship to Narayana, I recite the pure name of Narayana, and I reflect on the infallible truth of Narayana. That was interesting. Srinatha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Bhakta Priya Chakramane Shri Padmanabha Chuta Kaitadhare Shri Rama Padmaksha Hare Marane Ananta Vaikuntha Mukunda Krishna Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Bhaktam Samartopina Bhakti Kaschit Aho Jananam Vyasanadi Mukyam. O Srinatha, Narayana, Vasudeva, Divine Krishna, O kind friend of your devotees, O Chakrapani, Padmanabha, Achyuta, Kaitadhari, Rama, Padmaksha, Hari Marari, O Ananta, Vaikuntha, Mukunda, Krishna, Govinda, Damoda, Madhava. Although all people can address you, still they remain silent. Just see how eager they are for their own peril. Their own peril. You got what? Peril means danger. Bhakta paya bhujanga garudamanis trailokya rakshamaniya gopi lochana jata kambuda mani saundarya mudra manihi yah kanta mani rukmini ghana kuchadvan vaika bhushamani Shreyo Deva Shikamane Dishatu No Gopala Churamani. He is the jewel riding on the back of Garuda who carries away the Lord's devotees on his wings. He is the magic jewel protecting the three worlds, the jewel-like crowd attracting the chartaka bird eyes of the gopis, and the jewel among all who gesture gracefully. He is the only jeweled ornament on the ample breasts of Queen Rukmini, who is herself the jewel of beloved consorts. May that crown jewel of all gods, the best of the cowherds, grant us the supreme benediction. So here's the jewel verse. Well, the jewel verse is the stotra. That's another series of prayers. Shatru Chedaika Mantram Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampuja Mantram Samsaro Cheda Mantram Samuchita Tamasas Sanghandiryana Mantram Sarvaishvaryaika Mantram Vyasana Pujaga Sandashta Santrana Mantram Jive Sri Krishna Mantram Japa Japa Satatan Janma Sapalya Mantram. That was in the previous verse, the word jewel came up again and again. So in this verse, the word mantra comes up. In the previous verse it was money, and in this verse it is mantra. O tongue, please constantly chant the mantra composed of Sri Krishna's names. This is the only mantra for destroying all enemies. The mantra worshipped by every word of the Upanishads. The mantra that uproots samsara, the mantra that drives away all the darkness of ignorance. The mantra for attaining infinite opulence. The mantra for curing those bitten by the poisonous snake of worldly distress. And the mantra for making one's birth in this world successful. Vyamoha prashamaushadham munimanovriti pravrityaushadham Daityendrarti karaushadham tribhuvane sanjivanaikaushadham Bhaktyātyanta hitaushadham bhavadhaya Kadbham san aikaushadham Shreyaprapti karaushadham vilamana Shri Krishna divyoshadham. And this verse, the word is Oshadham, medicine. So we're going from money to mantra to medicine. O mind, please drink the transcendental medicine of Sri Krishna's glories. It is the perfect medicine for curing the disease of bewilderment, for inspiring sages to engage their minds in meditation, and for tormenting the mighty demons. It alone is the medicine for restoring the three worlds to life, and for bestowing unlimited blessings on the Supreme Lord's devotees. Indeed, it is the only medicine that can destroy one's fear of material existence and lead one to the attainment of supreme good. The next verse is a verse that Srila Prabhupada quoted several times, favorite verse of Srila Prabhupada. Krishna tvadiyavadavam kajapan panjarantam Adhyaiva me vishitu manasa raja hamsaha prana prayana samaye kapabata pittai kantavarodhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. O Lord Krishna, at this moment let the royal swan of my mind enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. How will it be possible for me to remember you at the time of death, when my throat will be choked up with mucus, bile, and air? Chetas chintaya kirtaya sva dasanenam bhavatvam shiro hastavam jali sambhudam rachayatam bandasva dirgham vapuhu Atman samshaya pundarika nayanam naga chalendra stitam dhanyam punyattamam tad eva paramam daivam hi satsiddhaye. O mind, think of the lotus-eyed Lord who reclines on the mountain like serpent Ananta. O tongue, glorify him. O head, bow down to him. O hands, join your palms in supplication to him. O body, offer outstretched obeisances to him. O heart, take full shelter of him. That Supreme Lord is the topmost deity. It is He alone who is all auspicious and supremely purifying. He alone who awards eternal perfection. Shrinvam janadana kataguna kirtanani dehena yasya pulutodgamaro marajihi notpatyate nayanayo vimalam bhumala dik tasya jivatamaho purushadhamasya. So now comes the word dik. Who knows what this word dik means? Well, dik, it means, it's like a condemnation. So, dik tasya jivitamaho purushadhamasya. May the purushadham, the rascals, the lowest of people, the fire on them. That's how Prabhupada translates it. Fire on them. It's like medieval English. We find generally in any series of stotras, there's glorification of the Supreme Lord and His devotees. And then at some point there comes condemnation of those who are not devoted. So here it comes. One who hears descriptions of Lord Janardana's pastimes and glorious qualities, but whose bodily hair fails to bristle in ecstasy, and whose eyes fail to flood with tears of pure love, such a person is indeed the most degraded rascal. What a condemned life he leads. Hare Krishna. Me. Andhasya me krita viveka mahadhananyas. Andhasya me krita viveka mahadhanasya. Chaurai prabho balibhirindriya namadheyai. Mohanda kupa kuhare vinipati tasya. Devesha dehi kripanasya karavalambam. O Lord, the powerful thieves of my senses have blinded me by stealing my most precious possession, by discrimination, and they have thrown me deep into the pitch dark well of delusion. Please, O Lord of Lords, extend your hand and save this wretched soul. Idam shariram parinama peshalam Patatyavashyam satasanti jarjaram Kimoshakam prichasi buddha durmate Niramayam krishna rasayanam piva. This body's beauty is fleeting, and at last the body must succumb to death after its hundreds of joints have stiffened with old age. So why, bewildered fool, are you asking for medication? Just take the Krishna elixir, the one cure that never fails. Ascharya me tatti manusya loke sudham parityajya visham pibanti damani narayana gocharani tyaktvanyavacha upakha patanti. The greatest wonder in human society is this. People are so incorrigible that they reject the life-giving nectar of Lord Narayana's names and instead drink poison by speaking nothing else. Tyajantu bhandava sarve nindantu guruvojana tatapi paramanando govindamama jivanam. Let my relatives all abandon me and my superiors condemn me, still the supremely blissful Govinda remains my life and soul. Satyam bravimi manuja swayam purvapahor yo yo mukunda narasingha janagameti jivo japatyanadinam varane raneva Pashana kashta satrishaya dadatavishtam abhishtam. O mankind with arms raised high, I declare the truth. Any mortal who chants the names Mukunda, Nrsimha, and Janardana day after day, even in battle or when facing death, will come to regret, come to regard his most cherished ambitions as no more valuable than a stone or a block of wood. Narayanaya Nama Nityamum Eva Mantram Samsara Ghora Vishanyir Haranaya Nityam Shrinvantu Bhavyamatayo Yatayo Nuragat Ujjaistaram Upadishamyaham Urdhvabahu. Raising my arms, I utter this compassionate advice as loudly as I can. If those in the renounced order want to be delivered from the terrible poisonous condition of material life, they should have the good sense to constantly hear the mantra Om Namo Narayana. Chittam naiva nivarsate kshanamapi Shri Krishna padam bhujan nindantu priya bandhava guru jana grihnantu munchantu va durvadam parikoshayantu manuja vangshe kalankostu va tadrik prema dharanuraga vadhuna matayamanam tume. My mind cannot turn from Sri Krishna's lotus feet even for a moment. So let my dear ones and other relatives criticize me. My superiors accept or reject me as they like. The common people spread evil gossip about me, and my family's reputation be sullied. For a madman like me, it is honor enough to feel this flood of love of Godhead, which brings such sweet emotions of attraction for my Lord. Krishna rakshatu no jagatraya guru Krishnam namadham sada Krishne kilas Krishnena kila satravo vinihata Krishnaya tasmai namaha Krishna deva samutitam jagadidam Krishnasya dasosmyaham Krishna tishtati vishvametad akilam he Krishna rakshasvamam. May Krishna, the spiritual master of the three worlds, protect us. Continually bow down to Krishna. Krishna has killed all our enemies. Obeisances to Krishna. From Krishna alone this world has come into being. I am the servant of Krishna. This entire universe rests within Krishna. O Krishna, please protect me. Hey Gopalaka, hey Kripa Jalanidhe, Sindhu Kanyapate, hey Kamsantaka, hey Gajendra Karuna Parina, hey Madhava, hey Ramanuja, hey Jagattraya, Guru, hey Pundarikakshamam, hey Gopi Jananatha Palaya Parang Janamina, Twang Vina. O young cowherd boy, O ocean of mercy, O husband of Lakshmi, the ocean's daughter, O killer of Kamsa, O merciful benefactor of Gajendra, O Madhava, O younger brother of Rama, O spiritual master of the three worlds, O lotus-eyed lord of the gopis, I know no one greater than you, please protect me. Dara Barak Karabara Sutate Tanujo Virinchi Stota Vedas Tavasurugana Pritya Varda Prasada Muktir Maya Jagadavikilam Muktir Maya Jagad Avikalam Tavakite Vakite Mata Mitram Balaripu Sutastatvat Your wife is the beautiful daughter of the ocean, and your son, Lord Brahma. The Vedas are your panegyrist, the demigods comprise your company of servants, and liberation is your benediction, while this entire universe is a display of your magic power. Shrimati Devaki is your mother, and Arjuna, the son of Indra, is your friend. For these reasons I have no interest in anyone but you. Parnamami shasya shira phalam vidus tadarchanam parna phalam divaukasaha Manah phalang tat guna tattva chintanam vachah phalang tat guna kirtanam buddhaha. The wise inhabitants of the heavenly regions know that the perfection of the head is to offer prostrate obeisances to the Supreme Lord. The perfection of the light bright is to worship the Lord. The perfection of the mind is to ponder the details of His transcendental qualities, and the perfection of speech is to chant the glories of His qualities. Shriman Nama Procha Narayanakyam Kena Prapur Vanchitam Papinopi Panah Purvam Vakpavritana Tasmings Tena Praptam Garabhava Sadidukam. What person, even if most sinful, has never said aloud the blessed name Narayana and failed to fill his desires? But we, alas, never used our power of speech in that way, and so we had to suffer such miseries as living in a womb. Jayante ye Vishnamanantam Abhyayam Hari Padmamadde Satatam Vyavastitam Krit Padmamadde Satatam Vyavastitam Samahitanam Satada Bhayapadam Jayanti Siddhim Paramam Tu Vaishnavim. The unlimited and infallible Vishnu, who is always present within the lotus of the heart, grants fearlessness to those who fix their intelligence upon Him. The devotees who meditate on Him will reach the supreme perfection of the Vaishnavas. Tattvam prasida bhagavan kurumayanate Vishnu kripam paramakarunika kalutvam Samsara sagaram nimagnamanantatinam Udharatam arhasi hare purushottamossi. O Supreme Lord, O Vishnu, you are the most compassionate. So now please show me your favor and bestow your mercy upon this helpless soul. O unlimited Lord, kindly uplift this wretch who is drowning in the ocean of material existence. O Lord Hari, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shira Sagara Tarangasi Shikara Saratara Charu Murtaye Bhogi Bhoga Shayaniya Shayane Bhagavaya Madhu Vidvishe Namaha. Obeisances to Lord Madhava, enemy of the Madhu demon. His beautiful form lying on the couch of the serpent Ananta is speckled by the shower of spray from the milk ocean's waves. Alam 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 eka praninam patakanam nirasana vishaye ya Krishna Krishna divani yadi bhavati Mukunde bhaktirananda sandra karatala kalita sa moksha samraja lakshmihi. By themselves the words Krishna Krishna are sufficient to drive away the sins of all living beings. Anyone who possesses devotion for Lord Mukunda that is densely imbued with ecstasy holds in the palms of his hands the gifts of liberation, worldly influence, and wealth. Yasya priyo shrutidharo kavilo kaviro nisdro dvijanavara patma sarabhavutam tenam bujaksha charanam bujashat Kadena Ragya Krita Kritiriyam Kulashekharena. This work was composed by King Kulashekar, be at the lotus feet of the lotus-eyed Lord. The king's two beloved friends are the twin stems of the exquisite lotus of the Brahmana community, expert Vedic scholars renowned as leaders of the community of poets. Vakundamalam patatam naranam Ashesha sokyam lagatena katsvit Samastapa pakshayam etyadehi Prayati Vishnu paramam padam tat. Who among those who recite this Mukunda Mala will not achieve complete happiness, and an embodied being who chants these prayers will have all his sinful reactions eradicated and proceed straight to the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. So thank you to that Mataji, who I don't know who it is, who had that book and reminded me it's about time I read this. And I hope you also were inspired by hearing that. It's a little difficult sometimes just to listen to recitations. Mostly people like to listen to a class, but as stated by Maharaj Kulashekar himself, it's extremely beneficial to recite these stotras. There are many beautiful stotras. We have the prayers of Shukadeva Goswami and the Bhagavatam. For instance, Kunti Devi's prayers in the Bhagavatam. Gopi's prayers, there are more than one. Which the Gopi Gita is most famous in the Bhagavatam. Yamuna Acharya Stotra Ratna. Then there are so many. We have the Prabodhananda Saraswati has made the Navadip Shataka and Vrindavan Mahimamrita. And he made the Chaitanya Chandamrita. So these are all Sanskrit prayers that can be recited. And in Bengali there are many very beautiful songs, especially Narottam Das's songs are very famous in the Vaishnava community of Bengal. In our line, those of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they practically form the basis of our liturgy in ISKCON, although there are many more songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur than those which are daily sung in ISKCON, which unfortunately most of our devotees don't know. And I'm sure in the local languages also there are so many beautiful songs compiled by great devotees. So local languages means Telugu, Tamil, all these different languages. So these can be recited, and in this way we can attain pure devotional service to Krishna. Govinda Damoda Madhaveti, that line comes here, it comes in Bhagavatam, and of course Bilvamangal Thakur made a whole Govinda Damodar stotra. That's also famous and very sweet stotra. These stotras, they are sweet and beautiful and powerful. But to understand them, of course, we have to hear the Vaishnava philosophy. Just like for instance is mentioned here about how the Lord has delivered Gajendra. So when that is mentioned, if we don't know the story in Bhagavatam of the Lord delivering Gajendra, it won't mean anything to us whatsoever. But if we do know, then just by that reminder, then the sweetness of that pastime will manifest in our mind. So it's not a substitute. Reciting stotras is not a substitute for hearing and studying the Bhagavatam, but it's a very sweet and relishable way to meditate upon the essence of the Bhagavatam, which is pure devotional service to Krishna. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You have a question? Yes, what is the question?
In Kulashekar he addresses Krishna as a killer of Mura.
Yeah. The Mura demon is described in the Bhagavatam. It's not much, even though the name Murari, and there are other names also, which means the killer of the Mura demon, although the name Murari is most common. He's mentioned in Bhagavatam, there's very little said about him. It's just said that he came rushing toward Krishna and Krishna killed him. That's all. Maybe in other Puranas there's more information. Hare Krishna. You have a question also? What is the question?
One of the shlokas, like Krishna, you are the son of Arjuna, you are the son of Deva.
Yeah.
My wishing is only your wish.
I couldn't understand. What's the question?
In this book,
The shloka like. What is the word like here mean?
Just trying to recollect the words. How the verse is said.
What is the question? Well, it'll take quite a long time to look through all of that. I'll give you 3 Hare Krishnas, and if you can't do it, then that's a couple of times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Give the book to me, so everyone can hear it. I'll read out the verse. Or the translation of the verse. Your wife is the beautiful daughter of the ocean, and your son is Lord Brahma. The Vedas are your panegyrist. The demigods comprise your company of servants, and liberation is your benediction, while this entire universe is a display of your magic power. Srimati Devaki is your mother, and Arjuna, the son of Indra, is your friend. For these reasons, I have no interest in anyone but you. Okay, what's the question?
Even the reasons I don't have interest in, but I don't get the last time.
Krishna is so great. Why be interested in, some guy cleaning the garbage in the street? Arjuna is so great, and he is Krishna's friend. So, why be interested in anyone else? And what is